Okay, good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody to the November meeting of the Laconia Zoning Board of Adjustments. And with that, can we have our call to order, please? Our roll call.
Roland Mayhew,
Here.
Lori Gibbs,
Here.
Steve Bogert,
Here.
Mike Foot.
Yeah.
Let the record indicate we do have a quorum, so therefore shall move on to the minutes. Everybody get an opportunity to review the minutes. Any changes, additions, subtractions?
I move
There
we accept
being-
the minutes as written.
Second?
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor of the motion? Passes as is. Okay. We're just speeding right along. We're gonna go down, we have nothing for the public hearing as far as continued. Then we got public hearings. Okay, 8.1. 263 Lakeside Ave, administrative appeal has been requested to be tabled to the December 16th meeting. So I'd like to entertain a motion, the table.
Make a motion to table application ZO 2019-0030 AA 263 Lakeside Ave to the next December meeting, to the December meeting.
Second.
Second, discussion. There being none, all those in favor? Aye. Please make that note.
Okay.
And now, take a mountain of paper, move it out of the way, and we'll go to application 0035, variance 337, Meredith Center Road, variance for house relocation and barn. The applicant, step forward. Introduce you right up to the microphone there. Introduce yourself for the record.
Hi, Sean
And
Slattery.
Tell us how we might be of service.
What's your name again, sir?
Sean Slattery.
Just tell us what you need, what you're doing.
Okay.
Give us a little bit of background on what you're trying to accomplish and see how we can help you, okay?
Okay. Right. Currently, I'm up on 34 Eastman Shore North in Laconia.
I just have one question. It says Meredith Center Road in the minutes, but on the form that we received, it says 34 Eastman Shore Road.
That's where he lives, that's his mailing
my
address
address.
right now.
Oh, this is, oh,
And the street address of the application is 337.
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't
Meredith Center.
understand.
No problem. Your application.
Okay, continue.
All right. So on 337 Meredith Center Road, I'm requesting that I get a variance on the front setback from the road. Currently, it's just under an acre of land, flat, and the house that's there now is going to be torn down. It's rodent infested, got a mold problem. You've probably driven by it a dozen times. So it'll be coming down. I gotta take some hazardous material out, some asbestos. So I gotta file with the state to get that permit, and then I have to meet the fire chief and take the oil tank out. Then I'll probably tear that down. So, at this time of year, I'll probably just wait till the spring to tear that down with the timing. But I want to put the barn up, and that would go in the back right-hand corner, which is on the detailed on the first map I sent in my application. And what it is if the current setback that is required is 75 feet from the road. So from the asphalt, you get 4 feet of 4 to 6 feet of shoulder. Then you have a 3-foot rock wall, and those are also detailed in multiple pictures that accompany the application. And I believe those are pictures 1 through like 9. As I walked across, I took those pictures. So there's a 3-foot stone wall, followed, and also a fairly thick tree line along the road there. And I'd like to put the barn closer to that corner, because if I go with the current requirement, it's gonna put the barn in the middle of the field, and then they won't be able to put a garden in, or have a big open space. And I'd also have to cut down a big elm tree, which is also in the pictures, and a oak tree. So it saved me from having to cut the big trees down in the middle of the property, and it also give me more land on the other side. And I feel that since there's a 3-foot rock wall with a tree buffer line, that it shouldn't impose any issues. And then the house sits quite close to the road as well. And then when I build that, it won't be this year or next, but that needs to just go back a little further as well. And there's no impact. Currently, there's state land on 2 sides. We got the road in front. On the right side, you have that field that they cut for hay. And then in the back is all conservation land. And then you just have the church on one side. In the back left-hand corner is a church. And you only really see them out there on Sundays. And they didn't, we served them with information to see if they had any issues, which apparently they don't.
They should know there is a special setback on that portion of Meredith Center Road. I mean, he needs that.
So I see you got a boat at least that if you get in trouble, you can float out of there.
Oh, Jesus, you're welcome to have them. I'm gonna give them away. They're buried in the ground. Actually, some of them aren't bad. I was just gonna put a free sign on them, see who took them. Need a little bit of work. Some old sailboats.
So the front setback 75 feet?
Yes, the Meredith Center Road is one of the 3 roads in the city that have the RR2 designation on them. So they get the extra large front setback. Normally in the RR2 zone and in the adjacent RR1, the lot sizes are 2 acres. He's got just under an acre, so trying to impose the RR2 requirements on this lot is certainly a challenge, to say the least. Normally, if it wasn't in the RR2, it would be a 40-foot setback, so he wouldn't have any problem with the house.
Yeah.
Still needs some relief for the barn, but
Okay. Any questions of the applicant?
You said you probably wouldn't build the house for, next year, do you think you would do it?
It all depends on finances and other things, but I'd like to get the,
Well, I was gonna say, because if we give you this variance, you've got 2 years to do it, and if you don't do it within that 2 years, you'll have to come back
right.
to get another.
But wouldn't that be active because he wanted to build the barn?
Well, if he builds the barn, he gets the variance for the barn and doesn't do the house, how does that?
It's only one variance, right? Or are we given 2 variances?
I think that,
We have, well, yeah.
I think you could do it with one and just
Just
specify the
specify.
2 setbacks for the 2 structures. And I would say that once he builds the
if he gets the barn
barn
built,
going, and then I would say he's
Then
probably,
okay, then he's
yeah.
satisfied.
I mean,
Okay.
from looking at the pictures of the house, it's
Well,
not like
yeah.
anybody's gonna move there.
No, clearly. No, I just didn't want him to wind up having to come back.
When I look at this chart here that has all these different points on it and arrows,
those are for pictures, yes.
oh, okay, I get it.
So the number corresponds to
Got
the
it.
picture.
Yeah,
yeah.
that finally
The points,
dawned on me.
the direction I was looking when I took the,
It did, it finally
I thought it
dawned
was a
on me
weather
when we were
chart. No,
looking at
yeah.
it. I went, oh, yeah, okay. All right, that
I would have made it warmer.
makes sense to me. All makes sense to me now, yeah. Okay,
It's become clear.
yeah.
Actually, the house portion where the house would be moved back from the road actually falls more into that, there was a triangle that was on the,
For the setback.
The
the setbacks.
meets the setback.
So it actually, that almost fits in there perfect where I'd move the house back from the road. So it's more the barn.
In
is the-
that, it becomes more conforming.
Right.
Less non-conforming, yeah.
So it's mostly the barn. I mean, if I put it like in the middle of the field there and it just kind of wrecks the whole rest of the field, because I was gonna transplant some of the bushes put behind it, and then,
Well, then it would be a pity to take down some of those
yeah.
bigger trees.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of cutting big trees down, so.
Yeah.
There is an ash there that I gotta see if the beetles got into it.
Mm.
But if it's okay, I'll leave that one. If not, I'll have to take that down.
So, but it's just the front setback, the side setbacks will be fine?
Yeah, I think that was 35 feet, and that's perfectly fine with me. I mean, I'll,
Okay.
Is it on septic
yes.
system? Has it got one in there now, or are you gonna have to replace that?
It's gonna be too old, so, but I'll just put it kinda in the same spot, and I'd have to get a septic design and all that, and that's
Yeah.
more than I can do. And it's actually got 2 wells as well.
Yeah, I noticed the wells, yeah.
Any other questions at the moment? You may have a seat for a second.
Okay, thank you.
I must do my duty here. With that, I'm going to open it up to the public and ask if anybody from the public wishes to speak for or against this application. Please come forward at this time and introduce yourself for the record. You never know when someone's going to come around the corner.
Gotta go by the rules.
Let the record indicate no one from the public wishes to speak for or against this application. I bring it back to the board for any further questions of the applicant.
No, a couple that I had.
Any closing comments? With that, I'm going to close it to the public, bring it to the board for discussion.
I think it's a really reasonable request. I think that the fact that there's stone walls and that nice tree line provides a nice buffer from the road, even though it's 25 feet from the road, there's a good buffer, so it's not going to be extremely visible. It's not as if the building itself is going to block line of sight for traffic, because you've already got the stone wall and the trees. And I think the placement of the barn maximizes the efficiency of use of the property and maintaining green space and some of the trees, which to me is really nice. The more trees you can save, the better.
I do
And
have one
and the place-
question.
Oh, sorry.
We will be leaving the stone walls.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, I think there's an RSA about stone walls, especially if they're boundaries, they have to stay,
In fact,
unless you have to remove them for,
in the back, I was gonna actually add those stone walls are kind of falling over. I'm actually gonna get those back up, and there's some rocks around there. I'll stack it where the church is, so it makes more of a border.
Very good. Thank you.
now, the last comment I was gonna make was that tearing that old house down is a vast improvement, and moving the house back, even though it's still within the 75-foot setback, it's back. It's much less non-conforming, and it will be just a vast improvement to have a new house on that lot.
So we're basically saying that by not granting this variance, it would be contrary to
Contrary to the
to
public interest.
interest
Um,
due to the fact that the house itself
The house
is
itself is in disrepair,
disrepair, as the
uninhabitable.
owner said, uninhabitable. So it means it's unsafe for people, and people could be staying there in an unsafe manner. And by not granting this, the spirit of the ordinance would be observed by granting this?
I believe
We
that it would be observed,
So-
yeah.
Okay.
We're falling within all of the requirements, we're improving the property. The owner is aware of all the permits that he's going to need to obtain, and will do so. Substantial justice is done in that the owner will be allowed to replace an uninhabitable structure with a new structure and put a barn in a location that allows him to maximize the use of his property.
And
And the values of the surrounding properties will be increased. They
Will
can
be
only be increased
Yep.
by these new structures. And the hardship of this property, the special conditions of this property are that it is a small, already a non-conforming size lot, and the actual area of building is so small that it would be almost impossible to build within the setbacks, and so the variance is required. And I feel that's the special characteristics of this property that would meet the hardship clause.
Okay,
And the
sounds like we
proposed-
have a
The proposed
motion.
use is reasonable.
We worked ourselves out of motion there, so it sounds like it's an
I'm making a
approval motion.
I'm making a motion to approve application 00335, yes.
Okay,
423.
based on the aforementioned discussion
Yep.
that we had, and do we have a second? Second. We have a second of that motion, and do we have discussion of that motion? Everybody, anything added?
I just worry about where the squirrels are gonna live.
And all those
And
mice.
the new rock wall.
That's true.
Okay, with that, no further discussion. All those in favor of the motion? It passes 4-0. These fine folks will give you the who, whats, and what's nots. Enjoy your new venture.
I'll send you a message when you'll get a notice of action in the mail.
Just come there with a permit.
If you can just go apply for the permit and
Excellent. I think I might have to wait, if the weather doesn't get warm to start breathing in.
Oh,
Unfortunately, Mother
we're gonna
Nature didn't get that memo that you were gonna do that.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good night. And please note in there that that variance was to cover, as spoken, about the house and the barn.
And the barn, yes.
Make sure they're both covered by that, please. Do we have any other business before the board tonight? We want our lawsuit.
Yeah,
Which one?
well, the,
How many do we have? We only had the one, right?
do we, our,
You're talking about Opeachy Street?
yeah,
Yes.
We won that.
yes.
We have others,
No,
but we did win that one.
yes, I saw that, I was pleased, yes.
I don't know of the others. The
They're
board
not-
here
they're not
does, or-
zoning. They're not zoning.
Oh, okay, then the zoning board does it, so we're all clear again. Ah,
Okay.
such sweetness.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, it is.
so if there's no other business, do we have updated, everybody's up to date, nothing coming up? December, we do our annual vote on the board
Our,
positions,
our
right?
elections? Is that what
Elections.
I don't remember if you're December or January.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It was January.
We'll look at
Y'all
last
can
year's.
figure it out and put it on.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll look at last year's and see what it was. And we are looking and been advertising for additional members.
And they're just flocking to you, aren't they?
No, they're not.
We beat them all off before you.
Yeah. We're actively looking for additional,
It would seem that there are still vestiges of these community service groups around here. They'd recognize that it's not that arduous or onerous to come down and give contemplative thought and discussion on matters that are relevant to their own community.
You would think so?
I would think so.
I would think so, but
I mean, I certainly think so. What am I? I'm only an abstractor.
we're always hoping. We've been having a shortage for quite a number of years,
Yep.
Years,
years.
years and years.
Yeah, you're not the only board. We
No.
have, it's across, we're looking for people for planning, we're looking for people for conservation, we're looking for people for others too, so it's,
And it's not the only community. When I came from Farmington, it's the same
Same
problem.
thing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate you can't do zoning and planning.
Oh. Sorry,
we go the other way.
we're
then.
still on her.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yes.
I would not want to be zoning and
Somebody wants to
planning.
throw a motion to adjourn.
Really,
Make a
motion to.
motion to, we need a motion to adjourn?
Some,
All those in favor?
right?
Okay, now I can do my.
All right.